Arima Kinen, Japan's year-end Grand Prix. Introduction to the Arima Kinen. The Arima Kinen, often called the Grand Prix, is one of Japan's most famous horse races and a grand finale to the racing year. Held each December at Nakayama Race Course near Tokyo, it is a Grade 1 turf race at the end of the season, where fans get to see many of the year's top racehorses compete in one field. What makes the Arima Kinen especially unique is that the majority of the runners are chosen by fan vote. In the weeks leading up to the race, fans across Japan vote for the horses they want to see, and the top 10 vote-getters, who are healthy and available, earn a spot in the starting gate. This all-star selection process, inspired by the concept of all-star games in sports, means the Arima Kinen is not just about which horses are the fastest, it's about which horses have captured the public's heart throughout the year. Because of this, the Arima Kinen is often called the fans' race. The atmosphere on race day is electric. Huge crowds pack Nakayama Racecourse, and television viewership is high as people tune in to watch their fan-voted heroes. In fact, the Arima Kinen has set world records for fan engagement and wagering. At one point in the 1990s, it recorded the highest betting turnover of any horse race in history, with nearly 87 billion yen bet on a single running, reflecting its immense popularity. But beyond the numbers, the Arima Kinen is a cultural event in Japan. It's traditionally run on the final Sunday of December, serving as a celebratory capstone of the year. Even people who aren't regular horse racing fans often pay attention to this one race, much like casual sports fans might tune into a championship game. It's a race where the storylines of the year culminate in one last showdown, and where fans can say farewell to retiring champions or cheer on rising stars. The Nakayama 2,500-meter course. The Arima Kinen is contested at Nakayama Racecourse over a distance of 2,500 meters, approximately 1 mile and 4.5 furlongs, on turf. This distance and course have their own distinct challenges that shape the race's outcome. Nakayama's turf track is a right-handed, clockwise course with relatively tight turns and a famously short home stretch. The race starts partway up the home stretch chute, and the horses pass the grandstand shortly after the break, then navigate 2 full circuits of turns and straights. The final straight at Nakayama is about 310 meters in length and includes a steep uphill climb in the last furlong. This uphill finish has a way of testing a horse's stamina and heart. Even horses that dominate on flat, long straights, like those at Tokyo Racecourse, can struggle at Nakayama if they don't handle the climb. Racing 2,500 meters at Nakayama demands a balance of speed, tactical positioning, and endurance. Because the stretch run is short, front-running horses, or those who can secure a good position early, often have an advantage. It's difficult for late-closing horses to make up a lot of ground in the final meters unless the early pace was very fast. Jockeys often try to save ground around the tight turns and conserve energy for that final climb. The field in the Arima Kinen can be large, often 16 horses, and with many fan-voted popular horses participating, the race can be crowded and competitive from the start. Positioning is key. A horse that gets stuck behind a wall of rivals might find it hard to find a clear path in the stretch. On the other hand, Nakayama's uphill finish can create dramatic moments. Horses with the stamina and will to surge up the hill can sometimes collar the leaders right before the finish line, sending the crowd into a frenzy. In summary, the Nakayama 2,500-meter course is a grueling test of both speed and staying power. It's long enough to require true stamina, but its layout rewards tactical savvy. This demanding course has been the stage for many of Arima Kinen's most exciting and memorable finishes, as champion horses duel to the wire with tens of thousands of fans roaring them on. History and origins of the race. The Arima Kinen has a fascinating origin story intertwined with the history of Japanese racing. The race was conceived in the mid-1950s by a man named Arima Ieyasu, who was then a top administrator and the second chairman of the Japan Racing Association, JRA. Arima Ieyasu was passionate about horse racing. and wanted to create a special event that would capture the public's imagination. It's said that he drew inspiration from baseball's all-star games, exhibition games where fans vote on the players. Why not have a horse race where fans vote on the horses? This idea was revolutionary at the time. In 1956, Arima's vision came to life with the creation of the Nakayama Grand Prix, a year-end race at Nakayama where the runners were selected in part by fan ballots. The JRA even solicited the public for name suggestions for the new race, eventually choosing Grand Prix as a nod to the internationally used term and perhaps inspired by the prestige of international film festival awards like the Grand Prix. The first Nakayama Grand Prix was held in 1956 and was an immediate hit, far beyond expectations. That inaugural running drew an overflow crowd to Nakayama Racecourse. Thousands more people showed up than the venue could comfortably hold, all eager to witness this new all-star horse race. However, Arima Ieyasu himself only saw that first race. Tragically, he passed away suddenly from illness in 1957, not long after the event's debut. To honor the man who created this beloved race, the event was renamed Arima Kinen, starting from the 1957 running. In Japanese, Kinen means memorial, so Arima Kinen literally means Arima Memorial, commemorating Arima Ieyasu's contributions to horse racing. His idea had created a legacy, a race where the public's voice plays a role in who competes, adding a unique layer of drama and anticipation for fans. Over the decades, the Arima Kinen grew into the premier year-end championship race in Japan. Its success even inspired a counterpart in Western Japan. In 1960, the Takarazuka Kinen, held in the Hanshin, Kyoto area, was introduced as a mid-year all-star race with a similar fan voting concept. Together, these two races, one in midsummer, one in winter, became highlights of the Japanese racing calendar. But the Arima Kinen remained the flagship, usually taking place in late December as the final Grade 1 of the year. Winning the Arima Kinen is considered a crowning achievement. Many horses who win it secure titles like Horse of the Year or cement their legacy with that victory. The race has seen adjustments and history over time. Originally run at 2,600 meters, it was shortened to 2,500 meters in 1966 and has stayed at that distance since. In the modern era, it's open to international runners, although foreign participation has been rare, and it continues to be the people's race. Each year, tens of thousands of fans cast votes to decide the lineup. For example, legendary horses like Ogre Cap in Deep Impact garnered record numbers of votes in their time, reflecting how beloved they were. Through it all, the Arima Kinen has retained its core identity, a race for the fans by the fans, where the nation's favorite horses converge for one grand showdown. It's not only a test of equine excellence, but also a celebration of the deep bond between Japanese fans and their heroes on four legs. Iconic moments in historic races. Throughout its history, the Arima Kinen has produced many legendary races that are still talked about decades later. These moments are often filled with high drama, emotional significance, and storybook endings that seem almost too good to be true. Let's look at a selection of some of the most historically significant editions of the Arima Kinen, in chronological order. 1977, Tosho Boy versus 10 Point. The legendary TTG Showdown 10 Point and Tosho Boy in their famous 1977 Arima Kinen duel, a race often hailed as one of Japanese racing's greatest showdowns. The 1977 Arima Kinen remains one of the most celebrated races in Japanese horse racing history. It featured the era's three standout horses, Tosho Boy, 10 Point, and Green Grass, popularly known as the TTG Trio, facing off in a final year-end showdown. Public anticipation was immense. Fan voting ranked 10 Point and Tosho Boy as the top two choices for the race, with Tosho Boy, the previous year's champion, slated to retire afterward, and 10 Point seeking to finally defeat his great rival. The stage was set for an epic encounter, and the nation's attention was firmly fixed on these two elite champions, settling their score on the Grand Arima Kinen stage. From the moment the gates opened, Tosho Boy and 10 Point asserted themselves and turned the race into a personal duel. Tosho Boy broke fast to take the lead, and 10 Point rushed up right beside him, neither willing to yield. They ran 1-2 almost the entire 2,500 meters, setting a fierce pace and pulling several lengths clear of the rest of the field. Greengrass, the third member of TTG, followed in third and was the only other horse remotely in contention, but even he was struggling to keep up with the blistering tempo set by the two frontrunners. Observers watched in awe as the pair matched strides. Both jockeys later admitted they were focused solely on beating the other horse, even if it meant exhausting themselves. By the final turn at Nakayama, Tosho Boy and 10 Point were still neck and neck, having left the remaining horses far behind. In the home stretch, their long-awaited duel reached its climax. 10 Point edged up on the outside of Tosho Boy and managed to forge ahead with about 200 meters to go. Tosho Boy, known as the Heavenly Horse for his brilliance, refused to give in and rallied again in the final strides. But 10 Point held his advantage to hit the finish first by a margin of 3/4 of a length. Greengrass closed gamely and secured third place, but the spotlight remained on the two titans up front. All three would finish several lengths clear of the rest of the field. 10 Point had finally prevailed over his rival in what was Tosho Boy's last race, and the three TTG horses had delivered an unforgettable performance. The 1977 Arima Kinen captivated the nation and has since been remembered as a legendary edition of the race. Media and fans immediately hailed the Tosho Boy versus 10 Point duel as one of the greatest races ever seen in Japan. It exemplified the very essence of Arima Kinen's appeal, a grand stage where the era's best horses settled their rivalries in front of an electrified audience. Even decades later, this race is often cited as the definitive example of elite champions meeting head-on in an Arima Kinen for the ages. Tosho Boy's gallant swan song and 10 Point's hard-fought triumph is cemented the TTG showdown of 1977 as an enduring part of Japanese racing lore, a true match race between two titans that lived up to every bit of its legend. 1990, Oguri Cap's farewell victory. Oguri Cap was one of Japan's first true racing superstars, a gray horse from humble origins who had captured the nation's heart in the late 1980s. By the end of 1990, however, Oguri Cap was a 5-year-old veteran with signs of wear and tear. Many critics believed his best days were behind him. The 1990 Arima Kinen was set to be his final race before retirement, a farewell appearance for his fans. Few expected much from him on the track that day because he had been defeated in several recent races and was thought to be past his prime. But what unfolded at Nakayama Racecourse on December 23, 1990, has since entered racing folklore. When the gates sprang open, Oguri Cap settled in the middle of the pack. For much of the race, it was unclear if he would fire. But as the field rounded the final turn into the home stretch, the old champion found one last burst of strength. Oguri Cap unleashed a dazzling finishing run, accelerating with a determination that defied his aging legs. The crowd at Nakayama, numbering well over 100,000, erupted into shouts. As he drove up the hill, fans began chanting his name. "Oguri! Oguri!" their voices growing louder with every stride. In a dramatic finish, Oguri Cap hit the wire in front, winning his farewell race against all odds. Pandemonium ensued in the stands. People were crying, hugging, and cheering this almost impossible victory. Even the race announcer became emotional. And Oguri's jockey, a young Yutaka Take, was seen with tears in his eyes. After the finish, the normally stoic Take would later say, "He gave me everything. It felt like he flew in that stretch run." It was as if the horse knew this was goodbye and somehow reached deep into his heart to deliver one final unforgettable performance. Oguri Cap's 1990 Arima Kinen win is often called a miracle. It wasn't just a race result, it was a moment of national emotion. The beloved gray underdog turned champion had scripted the perfect ending to his story, And the fans' outpouring of love that day cemented the Arima Kinen as a race capable of incredible fairy tales. 1993, Tokai Teo's miraculous comeback. If one Arima Kinen is consistently ranked by Japanese fans as the most dramatic, it might be the 1993 Arima Kinen featuring Tokai Teo. Tokai Teo, whose name fittingly means Emperor of the East Sea, was a popular colt who had won the Japanese Derby in 1991 and had flashes of brilliance throughout his career. However, Tokai Teo was plagued by injuries, his career was stop and start, and by late 1992, he had suffered a serious fracture. In fact, after December 1992, he went an entire year without racing while recovering. Many thought he would never return to top form, but his connections kept the dream alive, aiming for one race, the 1993 Arima Kinen, as Teo's comeback in swan song. On December 26, 1993, nearly 364 days since his last race, Tokai Teo stepped onto the Nakayama turf as something of a sentimental entry. He was now a 5-year-old stallion coming off a huge layoff, facing younger and arguably fitter stars of the day, including the year's Triple Crown race winners. The odds suggested only an outside chance for Teo. Yet as the race unfolded, the script twisted toward the unbelievable. Tokai Teo broke well and settled behind the leaders, looking comfortable. When the field hit the final turn, jockey Noriyuki Seiki Tahara asked Teo for an effort, and the Emperor responded with a surge. A roar erupted from the crowd as they realized Tokai Teo was rallying strongly on the inside. In the final strides, he dueled a much younger rival and prevailed by half a length, winning the Arima Kinen in a fairy tale comeback. The stadium exploded in joy and disbelief. Here was a horse that had been written off, who hadn't run in a year, somehow beating the best of a new generation. Fans and even seasoned commentators dubbed it the Miracle of Teo. It was Tokai Teo's final race, and he retired that very day as a legend of resilience. To this day, many fans recall the 1993 Arima Kinen with goosebumps, a testament to never giving up on a champion's spirit. It's a perfect example of how the Arima Kinen stage can deliver emotionally charged stories that feel almost cinematic. The once great hero returning against all odds to claim one last victory. 2006, Deep Impact's Soaring Swan Song. Fast forward to the 2000s, and we meet Deep Impact, a horse often compared to the likes of Secretariat for his dominance and popularity in Japan. By 2006, Deep Impact was a national icon. He had won the Japanese Triple Crown in 2005 and captivated fans with his trademark come-from-behind explosive finishes. However, 2006 had been a roller coaster for him. He famously traveled abroad for the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe in France and finished third, only to be disqualified for a medication violation. Upon return to Japan, Deep Impact redeemed himself by winning the Japan Cup, setting the stage for the Arima Kinen to be his final race before retirement. The anticipation for the 51st Arima Kinen, 2006, was enormous. It felt like the entire country was watching to send off their hero. On race day, Nakayama Racecourse was packed well beyond capacity, buzzing to see Deep Impact run one last time. As expected, jockey Yutaka Take settled Deep Impact towards the back of the pack after the start, a position from which the champion had launched many of his breathtaking finishes. The early pace was solid, and fans waited to see when Take would press the go button. That moment came as the field approached the final 3 furlongs. Yutaka Take gave his star the cue, and Deep Impact responded in otherworldly fashion. In an instant, the horse accelerated, spreading his invisible wings, as one journalist put it. He swung wide and flew down the stretch with giant, powerful strides, rapidly inhaling the leaders. The crowd's noise became a roar of awe. They were witnessing something special. Deep Impact thundered past his rivals and won the Arima Kinen by an emphatic margin, about 3 lengths, barely seeming to break a sweat. It was the perfect swan song. Even his jockey Take, who had seen many great horses, was astonished. He later said in admiration, "He flew like I've never felt before." Watching Deep Impact that day, many felt he didn't just run, he soared. Another jockey in the race quipped that when Deep Impact breezed past him, it felt like a sudden gust of wind at his back. The champion's final performance left an indelible image. Deep Impact powering away in front of a frenzied crowd, finishing his career on the highest of highs. After the race, amid tears and cheers, Deep Impact was led in front of the grandstand for a farewell ceremony. Fans gave him a standing ovation, fully aware he had witnessed the final chapter of one of the greatest horses in Japanese history. The 2006 Arima Kinen remains unforgettable for how it showcased Deep Impact's brilliance and gave him the dramatic send-off he deserved. 2014, Gentle Donna's grand finale. The 2014 Arima Kinen delivered yet another storybook ending, this time for a remarkable mare named Gentle Donna. Gentle Donna was already a racing superstar in her own right. She had won the Fillies Triple Crown in 2012, sweeping the 3 classic races for fillies, and had become the first horse ever to win the prestigious Japan Cup twice in 2012 and 2013. By 2014, as a 5-year-old mare, she had little left to prove. In fact, she had traveled internationally and won the Dubai Shima Classic earlier in 2014, adding to her accolades. The Arima Kinen of that year was decided as the final race of Gentle Donna's career, one last challenge on home soil before retirement, and her first attempt at this Grand Prix race. Going into the race, she was among the top contenders, but not a heavy favorite, as she had been beaten in a couple of recent starts. The field was strong, including rivals like Gold Ship, another fan-favorite horse known for his quirky brilliance. When the race began, Gentle Donna's jockey, Keita Tosaki, positioned her mid-pack, biding time while others set the tempo. As they navigated the final turn into the home stretch, Tosaki angled Gentle Donna out for her run. The crowd had a huge number of Gentle Donna supporters. She was a darling of the fans, especially being a rare top-class mare in what is often a male-dominated sport. With a clear path ahead, Gentle Donna unleashed a bold charge in the stretch. She showed her class by overtaking the leaders and then holding off a late rally from the younger colt to the world. Gentle Donna hit the finish line in front, clinching victory in the Arima Kinen. It was a fitting and emotional finale to her career. In winning, Gentle Donna made history as the first Japanese Filly Triple Crown winner ever to capture the Arima Kinen. As she crossed the wire, cheers and applause erupted. Fans knew they were saying goodbye to one of the great mares of their era, and she had given them a parting gift of a grand victory. Her connections and fans greeted her in the winner's circle with profound admiration. Gentle Donna's 2014 triumph underscored how the Arima Kinen can serve as a crowning achievement race. For her, it literally was crowning. She earned Japan's Horse of the Year title for the second time, thanks in part to that Arima win. The sight of Gentle Donna, a fierce and elegant mare, draped in the Arima Kinen victory flower blanket, remains a cherished memory. It was the grand finale for a grand dame of racing, and it left many fans teary-eyed and grateful. 2017, Kitasan Black's final bow. In 2017, the Arima Kinen once again became the stage for a beloved champion's farewell. This time it was Kitasan Black, a powerhouse racehorse who had been a consistent top performer for 3 seasons. Kitasan Black was famous not just for his achievements, multiple Grade 1 wins, including the Japan Cup and Tenno show races, but also for his unique ownership. He was owned by a popular Enka folk singer, the legendary Saburo Kitajima. Kitajima's involvement in the horse's name, which includes Kita-san, a reference to the owner, had made Kita-san Black a cultural phenomenon beyond racing circles. By the end of 2017, Kita-san Black had already secured Horse of the Year honors in 2016 and was expected to retire after one last run in the Arima Kinen. Notably, Kita-san Black had run in the Arima twice before, finishing third in 2015 and second in 2016. The 2017 edition would be his third attempt, third time's the charm, as some hoped, and an opportunity to go out a winner. On December 24th, 2017, Nakayama Racecourse was packed with fans eager to send off this fan favorite. Kinen Black was the race favorite and broke from the gate brilliantly under jockey Utica Take, who by now was a veteran rider and had been the regular partner for Kitasan. He went straight to the lead, taking command of the race early. This wasn't surprising. Kitasan Black was known for his strength as a front-runner who could set the pace and still have energy in reserve. As he galloped past the stands for the first time, the crowd roared, already on edge, knowing this was their last time seeing him compete. Through the backstretch and in around the final turn, Kitasan Black maintained his lead comfortably. When the field turned for home, Take asked him for a final effort, and the horse responded with his trademark grit. He pulled away by a length and a half from the chasing pack, never truly threatened in the stretch. The outcome was jubilant. Kitasan Black crossed the finish line first, securing victory in the Arima Kinen at last. The grandstand erupted in cheers as this magnificent horse ended his career in the storybook fashion, a champion going out on top. It was Kitasan's 7th Grade 1 win, placing him among the elite of Japanese racing history, and it pushed him to a record for career earnings at the time. After the race, a retirement ceremony was held amidst an atmosphere of celebration and bittersweet emotion. Saburo Kitajima, the owner, was known to sometimes sing his famous song Matsuri, which means festival, after Kitasan's big wins, encapsulating the celebratory mood. Many fans were waving flags or towels with Kitasan Black's name and colors and giving him a hero's send-off. The 2017 Arima Kinen thus became a fond farewell to a horse who had given so much excitement to the sport. It highlighted once more what makes Arima special: the chance for fans to collectively honor a great horse's legacy in his final run. In that moment, as Kitasan Black paraded in front of the packed stands one last time, the feeling in the air was one of gratitude and joy. The perfect final bow for a people's champion. 2019, Les Gracieux's emphatic triumph. The 2019 Arima Kinen provided a slightly different kind of story, one of international flavor and utter dominance. Les Gracieux, a 5-year-old dark bay mare, had spent 2019 compiling a globe-trotting fairy tale. Earlier that year, she won the Takarazuka Kinen, the other fan-voted Grand Prix race in Japan, in the summer, and then traveled to Australia in October, where she triumphed in the prestigious Cox Plate, one of Australia's biggest races. Returning to Japan for the winter, Les Gracieux was aiming to cap off her career with the Arima Kinen as her final race. By now, she had become an international star, and Japanese fans were proud of her overseas accomplishments. She was also to be ridden by Australian jockey Damian Lane, who had built a strong partnership with her during that year, an unusual sight in the Arima Kinen, which typically features mostly Japanese riders. The race drew a stellar field, including the reigning Japanese Horse of the Year, Almanai, a phenomenal filly who had dominated 2018. Many expected a clash between Les Gracieux and Almanai. When the gates opened, Les Gracieux was settled in the middle to back of the pack by Lane, biding time while a fast pace unfolded up front. Almanai raced near her, but notably, the favorite didn't appear entirely comfortable. As the race approached the final turn, Lane made a decisive move, guiding Les Gracieux to the outside to find clear running. Then, early in the stretch, he urged the mare to unleash her run. And unleash she did. Les Gracieux displayed a breathtaking turn of foot, storming down the center of the track. Within a few powerful strides, she not only took the lead, but began to open up a wide margin. The crowd's excitement grew to astonishment as Les Gracieux pulled away by 5 lengths, a huge gap in a top-level race. She hit the finish well ahead of the rest in one of the most dominant Arima Kinen performances ever seen. Even more impressive, she had beaten a strong all-star field of accomplished horses. In fact, Almanai and other champions were left far behind, struggling to keep up. As Les Gracieux crossed the line, it was clear the torch had been passed. This mare was the star of the show. The normally restrained Japanese audience could not help but cheer loudly for what they had witnessed. A mare winning the Arima Kinen in commanding fashion, something relatively rare. It was a historic moment too. Lise Gracieux became the first mare to win both the Takarazuka Kinen and Arima Kinen in the same year, underlining her versatility and greatness. It was also a triumphant example of international collaboration, a Japanese horse with an Australian jockey conquering one of Japan's biggest races. After the race, Lise Gracieux was celebrated in a retirement ceremony, as this was her final run before heading off to broodmare life. She was crowned Japan's Horse of the Year for 2019, thanks in large part to that Arima win and her global exploits. Fans praised her as a fairy tale finish incarnate. She had given them not just a win, but a dominating spectacle. The 2019 Arima Kinen stands out as a showcase of pure excellence, and it introduced international viewers to the spectacle of Arima Kinen as footage of Damien Lace celebrating aboard Lise Gracieux, and the mare's powerful finish was shared worldwide. These races, 1990, 1993, 2006, 2014, 2017, 2019, and many others, form the rich tapestry of Arima Kinen's lore. Each brought its own flavor of excitement, a beloved champion swan song, a miraculous comeback, a dominant virtuoso performance, or a heartfelt farewell. They exemplify why the Arima Kinen is more than just a sporting event. It's often a stage for deeply human narratives, told through the horses and the people who love them. Conclusion. The magic of the Arima Kinen. There's a reason the Arima Kinen holds a special place in the hearts of racing fans and the Japanese public. It combines top-tier competition with a sense of occasion and sentiment that is hard to find elsewhere in sports. Each year, the race serves as a grand celebration of all that Japanese horse racing has to offer. The skill of the horses and horsemen, the passion of the fans, and the emotional stories that unfold on the turf. The Arima Kinen is often the scene of goodbyes. Many legendary horses have used it as their final curtain call, creating unforgettable farewells that live on in memory. It's also a race of dreams. Because fans vote in their favorites, there's an element of wish fulfillment just in seeing the lineup, and everyone hopes to witness something extraordinary. For international viewers not familiar with Japanese horse racing, the Arima Kinen is perhaps the perfect introduction. It encapsulates the culture of Japanese racing, where fans are deeply connected to the horses, treating them almost like heroes or pop stars. The sight of more than 100,000 fans at Nakayama in late December, all cheering in unison, waving fans or banners for their horse, is truly stirring. The race itself rarely disappoints. Its history is full of close finishes, upsets, and dramatic bursts of speed that can take your breath away. You don't even need to know the horses beforehand to appreciate the intensity and emotion on display. The energy is contagious. In a calm and reflective tone, one might say the Arima Kinen represents the end-of-year spirit of gratitude and hope. It's a time when fans can thank their champions for the year's memories by voting for them and applauding their effort on race day, and also a time to look forward to the future as new stars often emerge. There is a sense of closure, but also renewal. When the winner of the Arima Kinen comes back to the winner's circle, often draped in the victory blanket amid roaring approval, it's a moment of collective joy. Whether it's a storied veteran going out on top or a younger horse staking a claim for greatness, the emotions run high yet warm. Why is the Arima Kinen special? It's special because it is by the people and for the people. Few other races in the world allow fans to directly influence the field like this. And few races consistently bring together so many elite horses from different generations, 3-year-olds up against older champions, in such a meaningful clash. The Arima Kinen has the prestige of a championship and the atmosphere of a festival. It truly is both a sporting championship and a nationwide celebration. As we conclude our journey through the Arima Kinen story, we invite you to experience this remarkable race for yourself. Whether you watch live from Nakayama or tune in from across the globe, take a moment to appreciate the roar of the crowd, the pageantry, and the incredible athletes, equine and human, that make it all possible. The Arima Kinen is more than a horse race. It's a tapestry of history, culture, and heartfelt moments. It's an annual reminder of why sports can move us. The thrill of competition combined with the deep emotional connections we form with our favorite champions. So when the late December sun starts to set and the horses parade to the Arima Kinen starting gate, know that you are witnessing one of Japan's most treasured sporting events. In that starting lineup are not just the fastest horses, but the horses that fans have chosen with love. And when the gates open, be prepared for anything. A record-setting performance, a comeback, a tear-jerking farewell, because the Arima Kinen has delivered them all. That uncertainty, that potential for magic, is why year after year, millions eagerly await this All-Star Grand Prix. We hope you'll join in the excitement and see why the Arima Kinen is truly a race like no other. Thank you for watching and enjoy the race. And now you know the story behind it, making it all the more meaningful when those horses thundered down the Nakayama homestretch.